Hey there, I'm Sean, also known as SingletonSean here on the channel. So for those who don't know, I'm a software engineer with many years of .NET experience, mostly in the desktop world. I'm also super passionate about web development. I love writing web applications. I actually like JavaScript, surprisingly, and TypeScript. And I like using NeoVim. That's something new that I got into and has been a lot of fun. So that's more what I do, but I really want to talk about my name because SingletonSean is kind of a corny name. So I figured I would talk about it, talk about the backstory because I guess it's kind of interesting how I came up with this name. It wasn't just some random thing that came up, and it's not like I'm a huge lover of singletons, we'll put it that way. So it all started in year 2 of college. I was a sophomore, and I was really obsessed with graduating and getting a job because I didn't like college. So with that being said, I was looking for an internship, and just 5 minutes down the road, there was this company, and they were writing C# applications, and I was learning about C# at the time, so I thought, hey, I'm gonna apply. I got an interview, ended up getting the job, and when I got hired, I was pretty comfortable. I was already pretty comfortable with C#, so I hit the ground running. Even better, I was reading all the clean code books and tons of software books in general and watching YouTube videos about software. Everything was just software. I was in college learning about software, so I thought I was writing the best code ever. I thought I was the best engineer, when in reality, I was writing some really terrible code. Now, with that being said, at this job, there was one specific detail of the codebase that really frustrated me, and that was that almost 75% of the lines of code in the codebase was in a bunch of singleton classes. There was probably 5 singleton classes with 5,000 lines of code, and that made up a very large portion of the code base. So by the way, if you're not familiar what a singleton is, I actually don't have a video on singletons at all, so I'll briefly explain it here. It's just a class that is structured in a way that it can only have one single instance throughout the entire application. And this is where a lot of the frustration set in because a lot of these classes shouldn't have been singletons. And there were plenty of times where I needed multiple instances of the class, but couldn't get one because it was a singleton. So I would either have to make it not a singleton and then update everywhere in the codebase to not reference this class as a singleton, which was a massive change, or I would have to work around it in all sorts of ways and make the singleton do some really quirky stuff to support the use case that I was working on. So throughout this internship, there were days where I felt like I was haunted by singletons, but really singletons were the bad part, and the rest of the internship was really awesome. So first off, I had a lot of responsibility, and they let me write a lot of code, and a lot of that code was, not gonna lie, it was pretty bad, as I alluded to before. But really that helped me in the long run because I feel like in order to write good code someday, you have to understand what bad code is. And really the best way to understand what bad code is to write bad code. So you gotta write the bad code before you can write the good code. And even then your code will probably not be that good, but you get better every year. Also at this internship, my supervisor or mentor was really awesome, not only in a technical way, but even more in a soft skills type of way. And just in general, teaching me how to be a professional, those kinds of lessons that really stick with you throughout your career. I also remember he did find my channel one day, so huge shout out to him if he's watching. So between writing a lot of code and having a good mentor, I was learning a lot. And eventually I decided to create a YouTube channel to document and solidify my learnings and also share solutions to unique problems that I'd run into that might help other people, which did happen a lot because we were writing WPF at this internship. And as a lot of you might know, WPF is super quirky and there's endless learnings that you can share about it. But I needed a channel name. So the last twist here, I had heard about this blogger or speaker in the .NET world a long time ago called the Data Grid Girl. And I just thought it was really neat how she had a technical term in her name and she made it flow really well, the Data Grid Girl. It just comes off the tongue nicely. So for some weird reason, I wanted to do the same thing for my channel name. And eventually, as singletons continued to haunt me at this internship, I eventually came up with the name SingletonSean. So based off that, it's almost like a meme to me, and it is kind of silly, but I feel like it represents a unique part of my life, and it pays tribute to my internship, which I appreciate a lot. So might as well embrace it. But aside from that, a name isn't what makes a YouTube channel. It's about the community out there and all the people who have supported it along the way. We've actually just hit 20,000 subscribers, which is way more than I ever expected when I created this channel just for fun, as a young software engineer. So again, thanks for everyone who's watched and supported along the way. And if you do want to support the channel even more, consider becoming a member. So as a member, you get early access to a bunch of content. You also get showcased in the SingletonSean member showcase. You can also log into the showcase and share a message with the world. As we can see, Alexander has some kind words to say. So you can really post anything here. I will moderate it a little bit. This is probably pushing the boundaries, but hey, we'll leave it. And there's also many other small perks to memberships that you can find if you go to sign up. So that's the story behind SingletonSean. Special thanks to everyone supporting and watching the channel, and stay tuned for more content.